The Devil Woman's Lure. Surrounded by the stunning landscape of Brasso Seco, northern Trinidad, beneath a full moon, there was an eerie stillness in the air. It was on this fateful night that young Malachi decided to traverse the solitary tracks that bear through the thick aged woods. Ignoring all the warnings of the Diablesse that his elders battered into him, he set forth, his pulse quickening in excitement like a rapid drumbeat. As he walked, the crackling leaves seemed to speak, the stories of unfortunate souls who had fallen for an enchanting beauty. Malachi chuckled to himself and ridiculed the tales, mocking it as mere hysteria and superstition. After all, he had traveled the world and was sure about his wits and charming good looks. But the moon's light seemed to pulse, cloaking the surroundings in darkness, only the path ahead illuminated, the night morphing into something otherworldly. Behind one of the twisted trees, dressed in a flowing, long pearl-white gown, a woman wore a wide-brimmed hat that cast her face into darkness. Only a hint of teeth from a quick smile and a twinkle of eyes could be seen as the clouds above hindered the moon's light. Malachi's breath caught in his throat. She was delightful, alluring. She signed to him with one hand to come closer, and on the edge of these soft words, "Come near, brave traveler. Why you walking by yourself when we could keep each other company?" Mesmerized, Malachi felt himself move towards her. The reassurance of company seemed to dispel any possible concerns. The closer he went to her, with that warm smile, the more he felt an unusual sense of unease deep within. Only now, with this slight foreboding, did he recall the tales of La Diablesse, the enchanting devil woman who lured men to the grimmest of fates. Feeling a chill run down his spine, he completely ignored the instincts to flee. "What your name is, beautiful?" he inquired. "Names don't mean nothing in the dark, but you could call me anything you want," she said, overly sweet, which made his skin prickle. Malachi, emboldened by his arrogance, took another step forward. Moonlight flickered, but the clouds moved ominously, creating phantom shapes and shadows around them. Suddenly, the wind went through the trees, and for a split second, he saw something. What was that? He questioned himself. A flash of a cloven hoof beneath her gown. "Run, boy!" his heart screamed. In a vice-like grip, terror had him. "What happened?" she asked with a cheery lilt in her voice, twisting into something predatory. Better go home," his mouth trembled, still wrestling with the pull of her charm. "Stay now," she ordered this time in a soft hiss. "The night's still young." In one elegant motion, she glided into the shadows. There was Malachi, fear and desire battling within him, desire winning. He followed. Even as the forest became denser, the trees advanced like guardians, whispering words he could not decipher. With every step he took, his legs felt like lead, the darkness eager to consume his very soul. The fracturing noise of the breaking of a branch shattered the trance. Malachi froze. His heartbeat pounding in his ears was too loud. From the underbrush, A cacophony of unseen creatures erupted, the sound of popping twigs and grating voices, but nothing he could see. The closeness of terror stung him in the neck, a sensation of being observed. "Help me!" a voice cried out from the shadows. "She coming for you! You must escape!" sending a rush of adrenaline through him. Malachi spun around only to find emptiness before him, darkness pressing in, suffocating him. He recognized who was near. He took a step back to run, but the Diablesse materialized once more, standing in his way. "Where you running from me for?" she asked. Her voice sang an enthralling and fear-inducing siren song. Malachi's daze long since lifted. "You is a monster!" he yelled, his eyes wide in panic. She laughed, a sound that chilled his bones, terror turning him cold. "A monster? Me? Or is a mirror reflecting what you're afraid? Is you who follow me on your own in the dark, and now you is mine." Malachi desperately sought to escape, remembering the elders' warnings he had been so arrogant to dismiss. He quickly turned his shirt inside out, a last-ditch effort to break her hold. But when he looked over his shoulder, the shadowed figure with the brim of her hat shielding most of her face came forward. Glancing up, she was beautiful, grotesque, half angel, half demon. The duality twisted his sanity. "You really think that could save ya?" she hissed, her tone mocking. "You can't run from fate." All of a sudden, the forest came alive. Trees began to twist every which way, and the moon's light dimmed. The ground began to tremble beneath his feet, his surroundings warping. In a flash, he was back where he had first met her, though it was not the same. A blood moon had taken to the sky above them, and underneath, the air thick with despair. The path he walked was now covered in tattered clothes, men's shirts turned inside out, streaming into the forest. His heart plummeted once he noticed he was not the first to fall prey to her, the Diablesse. Every last victim had tried to flee from her wicked wiles, but horrifyingly they all failed. Turning to confront her, he found himself faced with his reflection, staring back at him, twisted and disfigured. A mirror of the soul he had long ago abandoned for beauty and nothing else. That was the moment he knew the real horror. It was not La Diablesse. It took shape in the form of the darkness that lived inside of him. Alone in the eerie stillness, the forest began to whisper his name. "Malachi, Malachi, Malachi." He could do nothing but scream of his arrogance, his foolishness, his lust for the hunt, and disregard for the wisdom of his elders. Malachi's cries were drowned out by the gusts of wind, fading into the night, wails drifting off into the darkness he had sought to conquer. And somewhere in the darkness, La Diablesse smiled, her next meal already ensnared. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of when I drop new videos. Until the next tale.